Story time. Once upon a time, there was a little boy named Jack, who lived with his father in a small village, on the outskirts of a great kingdom. Jack was a happy child, but there was one thing that always troubled him. He had never known his mother. His mother had passed away when Jack was just a baby. And although his father tried his best to raise him, Jack always felt like there was something missing in his life. One day, as Jack was playing in the fields outside his village, he overheard some villagers talking about a magical flower that was said to have the power to bring people back from the dead. Intrigued, Jack asked the villagers where he could find this flower, and they told him that it grew deep in the forest, guarded by a powerful sorceress. Undeterred, Jack set out on a journey to find the magical flower and bring his mother back to life. He packed a bag with some food and supplies, and with a heavy heart, he said goodbye to his father and set out into the unknown. For many days, Jack wandered through the dense forest, encountering all manner of creatures and obstacles along the way. He had to fight off fierce beasts, navigate treacherous terrain, and overcome his own fears and doubts. But he pressed on, driven by the hope that he would soon be reunited with his beloved mother. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, Jack came upon the clearing where the magical flower was said to grow. But as he approached the flower, the sorceress appeared before him, blocking his path. The sorceress asked, "Why have you come here, child?" her voice cold and menacing. Jack said bravely, "I've come to ask for your help. I want to bring my mother back to life." The sorceress looked at Jack with a mixture of pity and disdain. She said, "You fool! Do you really think that a flower can bring the dead back to life? Such things are beyond the power of magic." Jack said, "But I have to try. I can't just sit back and do nothing while my mother is gone." The sorceress sighed. She said, "Very well. I will tell you what. I will give you a task. If you can complete it, I will grant your wish and bring your mother back to life." "What task?" Jack asked eagerly. The sorceress said, "You must retrieve a golden feather from the top of the tallest mountain in the kingdom. It's guarded by a fearsome dragon, so you'll need to be brave and cunning if you hope to succeed." Without hesitating, Jack set out on his new quest. He climbed the tallest mountain in the kingdom, facing numerous challenges along the way. Finally, he reached the top, where he found the dragon sleeping soundly, its golden feather resting on its back. Jack crept up to the dragon, taking care not to wake it. With a swift and careful movement, he plucked the golden feather from the dragon's back and ran back down the mountain. When he returned to the sorceress, she was impressed. She said, "You've done well, child. I will keep my end of the bargain. Your mother will be brought back to life." And just like that, Jack's mother was alive again. She hugged her son tightly, tears streaming down her face. "Thank you, thank you, thank you," Jack said, over and over again. From that day forward, Jack and his mother were inseparable. They spent every moment together, making up for lost time. And although Jack never forgot the incredible journey he had taken to bring his mother back to life, he knew that the most important thing was that they were together again. Jack and his mother returned to their village, where they were greeted with open arms by the rest of the villagers. Everyone was amazed at what Jack had accomplished, and they praised him for his bravery and determination. For Jack, however, the most important thing was that he had his mother back. He was overjoyed to be able to spend time with her, to hear her voice and feel her warm embrace. As the days passed, Jack and his mother grew even closer. They went on long walks through the countryside, told each other stories, and shared their hopes and dreams. Jack's mother was amazed at how much he had grown since she had last seen him, and she was proud of the young man he was becoming. One day, as they were walking through the woods, Jack's mother told him a story about a legendary knight who had gone on a quest to save his kingdom from a terrible monster. The knight had faced many challenges along the way, but he had persevered and emerged victorious. As Jack listened to the story, he felt a stirring in his heart. He realized that he too had a responsibility to help others, to make the world a better place. He knew that there were many people in his village and beyond who were struggling and in need of help. And so, inspired by his mother's story, Jack set out once again, this time on a new quest to help those in need and make a difference in the world. He traveled far and wide, encountering all sorts of people and situations along the way. Sometimes he succeeded, and sometimes he failed, but he never gave up. As he grew older, Jack became a hero in his own right, known throughout the land for his bravery and kindness. He helped countless people, from the poorest peasants to the richest kings, and he never once forgot the lessons he had learned on his first quest. That anything is possible if you have courage, determination, and love in your heart. In the end, Jack became a great leader, respected and beloved by all. And even though he had accomplished so much, he never forgot the love of his mother, who had taught him everything he knew. Together, they continued to make the world a better place, one small act of kindness at a time. And in their hearts, they knew that they had each other, and that was all that truly mattered. As the years passed, Jack became known as a wise and just ruler, who governed his kingdom with fairness and compassion. He was loved and respected by his subjects, who looked up to him as a role model. Despite his many responsibilities as king, Jack never forgot his quest to help those in need. He set up charities and other organizations to provide assistance to the poor and disadvantaged, and he worked tirelessly to improve the lives of his people. One day, as Jack was sitting in his throne room, he received a letter from a neighboring kingdom. The king of that land was in dire need of help, as his country had been devastated by a series of natural disasters. Crops had failed, homes had been destroyed, and many people were suffering. Without hesitation, Jack sprang into action. He gathered a group of volunteers, including doctors, engineers, and other experts, and led them across the border to the neighboring kingdom. There, they worked tirelessly to help the people in need, rebuilding homes, providing medical care, and distributing food and supplies. For months, Jack and his team worked tirelessly, day and night, to help the people of the neighboring kingdom, and slowly but surely, they began to make a difference. Crops began to grow again, homes were rebuilt, and people started to regain their hope and optimism. Finally, after many months of hard work, the neighboring king called Jack into his throne room to thank him. The king said, "You have done more for my people than I could ever have imagined. You have shown us what it means to be truly selfless and compassionate, and I am forever grateful." Jack smiled humbly. He said, "It was the least I could do. I learned long ago that we are all connected, and that by helping each other, we can make the world a better place." As Jack and his team prepared to return home, the people of the neighboring kingdom gathered to bid them farewell. They cheered and waved, tears streaming down their faces, as Jack and his team rode off into the distance. And as Jack looked out over the crowd, he realized that this was what he had been searching for all along: a sense of purpose, a calling to help others, and a deep connection to the people around him. He knew that he would spend the rest of his life continuing his quest, helping others and making a difference in the world. And as he rode home, he knew that his mother would be proud of him, and that she was with him in spirit, guiding him and inspiring him to be the best that he could be. When Jack returned to his kingdom, he was welcomed back with open arms by his people. They were amazed at the incredible work he had done in the neighboring kingdom, and they were proud to have such a compassionate and wise king. As time went on, Jack continued to lead his kingdom with wisdom and kindness. He worked tirelessly to ensure that his people were happy and prosperous, and he never forgot his duty to help those in need. And even as he grew older, Jack never lost his sense of purpose or his passion for helping others. He knew that he had been put on this earth for a reason, and that reason was to make a difference in the world. One day, as Jack was sitting in his garden, surrounded by the beauty of nature, he realized that it was time for him to pass on his legacy to the next generation. He called his advisors and counselors to his side, and told them that he had a plan. He said, "I want to establish a school where young people can learn not just the skills they need to succeed in life, but also the values that will help them make a difference in the world. I want to create a generation of leaders who will carry on my work, and who will make the world a better place." And so, with the help of his advisors and counselors, Jack established a school. It was a school unlike any other, where students not only learned math, science, and literature, but also learned about kindness, compassion, and selflessness. The school quickly became famous throughout the land, and parents from all over the kingdom clamored to have their children admitted. And over the years, the school produced generation after generation of young leaders who went out into the world and made a difference, just as Jack had done. And as Jack watched from afar, he knew that he had done what he was meant to do. He had found his purpose in life, and he had passed on that purpose to the next generation. And as he closed his eyes for the final time, surrounded by his loved ones, he knew that he had lived a life that had truly made a difference. The news of Jack's passing spread quickly throughout the kingdom, and the people were filled with grief. They had lost a great leader, a wise king, and a true friend. As the days passed, people from all over the kingdom came to pay their respects to Jack. They brought flowers, candles, and other offerings, and they shared stories of how Jack had touched their lives. One day, a young boy came to the palace gates. He was dressed in rags, with dirt on his face and tears in his eyes. He said to the guards, "Please, I need to see the king. I need his help." The guards looked at the boy skeptically. One of them said, "The king has passed away. There is nothing we can do for you." But the boy refused to leave. He said again, "Please, my mother is missing. She left our village to go to the city, and she never came back. I've been searching for her for weeks, but I can't find her. I don't know what to do." Moved by the boy's plight, one of the guards took him to see Jack's advisors. They listened to the boy's story and realized that he needed their help. And so, they took the boy under their wing and helped him search for his mother. They went from village to village, asking questions, showing pictures, and gathering information. Days turned into weeks, and weeks turned into months. The boy began to lose hope, but the advisors refused to give up. And finally, after months of searching, they found a woman who matched the description of the boy's mother. They brought the woman back to the palace, and the boy ran to her, tears streaming down his face. "Mother, I found you." The woman looked at her son with confusion, not understanding how he had found her. And then the advisors explained that it was all thanks to Jack's legacy, the school he had established, the values he had instilled in the next generation, and the compassion he had shown to all. And as the woman hugged her son tightly, she realized that Jack's legacy was more than just a school or a set of values. It was a way of life, a way of being, and a way of making a difference in the world. And so, even though Jack was no longer with them, his legacy lived on. It lived on in the school he had established, in the young leaders he had inspired, and in the countless lives he had touched. And as the years passed, people looked back on Jack's life with awe and gratitude. They knew that they had been blessed to have had such a great leader, and they knew that his legacy would continue to inspire generations to come. For Jack had not just been a king or a leader. He had been a beacon of hope, a symbol of compassion, and a true hero to all who knew him. and his memory would live on forever in the hearts and minds of those he had touched. Years passed, and the school that Jack had established continued to thrive. Students came from all over the kingdom to learn from the wise teachers who taught not only academic subjects, but also the values that Jack had instilled in them. One day, a group of students sat in their classroom, listening to their teacher tell them about the life and legacy of Jack, the great king who had established their school. They listened with rapt attention as the teacher told them about Jack's kindness, his compassion, and his dedication to making a difference in the world. As the teacher spoke, a young boy in the back of the room sat up straight. He had heard stories about Jack before, but he had never really understood what made him so special. But as he listened to the teacher's words, something stirred inside him. After class, the boy approached the teacher. He said, "Excuse me, can you tell me more about Jack?" The teacher smiled. She said, "Of course. What would you like to know?" The boy hesitated for a moment, then spoke. "I want to know how Jack found his purpose. I want to know how he knew what he was meant to do with his life." The teacher thought for a moment, then spoke. She said, "Jack didn't always know what his purpose was. In fact, for many years, he struggled to find his place in the world. But he knew that he had a desire to help others, and he worked tirelessly to figure out how he could do that." The boy nodded slowly, taking in the teacher's words. He said, "Thank you. I think I understand now." And as he walked out of the classroom, he realized that he too wanted to find his purpose. He wanted to make a difference in the world, just like Jack had. And he knew that if he worked hard and stayed true to his values, he would one day find that purpose, just like Jack had. Years passed, and the boy grew into a young man. He worked hard in school, and he never forgot the lessons he had learned about Jack and his legacy. And one day, as he stood on the stage at his high school graduation, he looked out at the crowd of parents, teachers, and fellow students, and he knew that he had found his purpose. He had been accepted to a prestigious university where he would study biology and environmental science. His dream was to work for a conservation organization, protecting endangered species and preserving the planet for future generations. As he walked off the stage, his family and friends gathered around him, beaming with pride. And he knew that, just like Jack, he had found his purpose. And he knew that, just like Jack, he would spend the rest of his life working to make a difference in the world.